Welcome back to the Homespa Beauty Podcast. Today I'm speaking with Jake Rosenberg, creator of Krete Skincare. Already a successful entrepreneur, when I spoke with Jake it was evident that he really is going places. Some people refer to him as the 30-second skin guy because the products only take 30 seconds to absorb into the skin. And there's a lot of innovation in the products that he's creating. And the reason why they are created really does stop you in your tracks. So if you're interested in knowing more about the evolution that Jake is creating in men's skincare, why he decided it was time to start his own brand, how difficult it can be to actually make your mark in such a tough and sometimes very cliquey market, and what makes Krete different. When I spoke with Jake, I really did feel as if I was speaking to someone who was on the way up. And I'd love to know your thoughts on our chat. Hi, Jake. It is lovely to talk with you. And I am so impressed with your business. I was looking at the website, I was looking at all your products. On the founder's story, you have what I think could be the most captivating, capturing, starting sentence ever, that you took a ski to the face.
Yep. Yeah, that's correct.
I mean, that's something else. Could you elaborate on exactly what happened and how it led you to create your brand?
Sure, absolutely. So, I've skied since I was 3 years old. My family always took us to, various ski places. It's one of those sports where you can get very confident very quickly. So, I never had any issues. I'm 27 years old a couple years ago. So this is 2017. I'm out in Telluride, Colorado, steep mountains, beautiful day. And, I'm the last one out. I always used to be. Um, yeah, I'm going down pretty fast on a blue, which is like a medium to easier ranking. I hit some ice, and my ski pops off, and in a very weird ski accident kind of way, it hits me in the face. So while I'm still standing, and it cuts my nose really badly. I'm wearing a helmet, I'm wearing goggles, so it kind of got me in the perfect spot. Normally when people get in a ski accident, they hit a tree, they tear an ACL, something like that. So my accident was very weird. I had to call the ski patrol, get them to, put me in that little body bag. They zip you up and like they ride you down the mountain. It was pretty intense. Had to get stitches there at the emergency room, then fly back to LA, and I got some more like cosmetic stitches, which are smaller and leave a lesser scar.
Mhm.
Then I had to, deal for a year and a half, 2 years with a scar on my nose and figure out scar reduction treatment, skincare, any cosmetic product. Basically, try to figure it out from scratch. I was always a wash my face with a bar of soap kind of guy.
Yeah.
And so that really forced me to understand, okay, well, hyaluronic acid has anti-aging and anti-scarring properties, and okay, what's a serum, what's a toner? And then at the end of the day, it led me to concealer, which, for guys is this taboo product, but for me, it was like, wait, I just dab a couple, little spots of this on my nose and people just cannot see this giant scar anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So that was kind of what made me do it. It was out of necessity. You hear other brand stories. It's always ended as, oh, I had a pimple on my wedding or whatever. No, I had like a giant scar on my nose that I could not hide,
And that's
except for
intense.
concealer. Yeah.
And you know what's really interesting too is I was actually speaking with someone about this today. There's this myth that men see scars as a, a badge of honor and women see it as something that must be hidden. But that is such a generalization.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine how you must have felt.
Well, if there's a scar, like I have scars in other places. I have a scar on my ankle from the time I was in like, I don't know, third grade riding an ATV with my friend and, flipped
Mhm.
off and hit a tree. Something, I don't know. That stuff is fine. It's on your ankle. But right in the middle of your face, your nose, you can't hide that with sunglasses. You can't hide that with hair. So it's, basically what it did is it brought up the question of like me retelling the accident when it just happened every single time. It was a traumatizing event for a year or two, and then I got over it. Now I talk about it because I started a business based off it. So it's fine now, but for a while it was just, it's kind of an unavoidable marker and conversation piece that I didn't really want to keep having the conversation.
Yeah, and what you've done is It's really admirable because, as you say, there will be people who'll think nothing about pointing to a scar and saying, "Oh, where'd you get that?" Just in
Yeah.
the presumption that you're okay to talk about it. But the fact that you didn't just look for products, you decided to start looking into how you could create products. At what stage did you think, actually, I can do something here?
So it was interesting because I am the kind of entrepreneur who wants to see how little money and fast I can do something myself, not necessarily to the highest professional level, but to get kind of, an MVP, a minimum viable product out to see, okay, is this a good business model? What are the realities of this business, this product, right? Okay, for a shirt, I can get it maybe made at 100 places. Where can I get skincare made? I don't know this industry. So it was basically I started going around to the formulators and they were all like, "Oh, it's 15 to $20,000. It'll take 9 to 12 months, sometimes 18 months if you want this. Then we have to do packaging and this and that." I said, "Okay, you know what? That seems like a giant investment of time, effort, and money. I'm going to go ahead and instead of doing concealer first, which the chemistry is too complicated to do myself, our other product I wanted to do was the serum. Those were the two real, hyaluronic acid serum and concealer were the two main products I used for my scars. So those were the two I was most familiar with. So I looked at the chemistry of it, bought, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 other of the highest rated serums with hyaluronic acid. I bought them, I tested them, I looked at their ingredients list, I broke it down into a spreadsheet, I ordered them, and I saw maybe I can do this. And so it was kind of in individual stages of realizing if I can do this, it's a giant benefit. I'll save tens of thousands of dollars in months. And then, yeah, I just kind of started step by step. And at no point was there a step that was impossible for me to do. So it kind of just worked.
That is so inspiring because a lot of people, especially in the skincare industry, I hear that there's so many roadblocks that it
Mhm.
can be very hard to give up. So I can only imagine how determined you must have been because it appears every time there was a roadblock, you just thought, right, we're going to have to take a different road here.
There's kind of I don't know how to describe it exactly, like a realism you need, but a little also delusion. And,
Yeah,
being an entrepreneur where you're like, yeah, I can do anything.
I
Sure,
get
that
that.
person has been in the skincare industry for 30 years and they're a literal chemist. Whatever, I can do it. There has to be some sort of craziness element to that. But also, then you have to approach it kind of systematically and scientifically of like, okay, well, if I am going to do it, what's the first step? What's the second step? First step is let me find out the best product. Second step was let me find out why it is the best product. Third is what ingredients go in it to make it the best product. Fourth was what ingredients should I not include? It was not any, well, I say it's not rocket science. It was chemistry, but it wasn't rocket science. Um, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, a serum specifically is a relatively easy formulation compared to concealer, which you need precise levels of colorants like iron oxides and titanium dioxide. It's a little too much colorant, and you get a different shade. So that you need precision equipment and to confirm the color on the other end. So that one I looked into doing, and it was too hard to do, you know, in the little lab that I set up. So we got someone else to do that. But yeah, business decisions made off of what you can actually do yourself first. The same thing with legal contracts. If you can figure out how to file a trademark yourself, those things can save a lot of time and money. And yeah, a little Googling and some YouTube videos will demystify almost anything.
And do you know why I think that it's so clever what you did? I am not, I wouldn't call myself ever an influencer. I just love the area that I work in. But I see a lot of influencers and I see a lot of skincare experts, and they argue between each other about, say, a celebrity that puts their name to a brand or
Mhm.
someone that changes career and starts a product. And quite often it's a split in the industry between people saying, how dare you come into our industry and think that you can start something, versus people saying, well, actually, everyone has a change of career, everyone has a passion. And what I really admire about you is you had a very legitimate reason for wanting to create products. And you are explaining very clearly that you had to work out where to go and what to do without pretending that you are some sort of skincare guru or someone that had a passion about it. Your passion clearly came from a need.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. It's funny because, when I started doing, some more publicity and things, the people I was talking to who helped me, the agency, they were like, well, you need a name. And they were like, and they said the skincare guru. And I literally said, I hate the word guru. I
Mhm.
don't think there's gurus. I think that, you know, if you hear someone and they say something that makes sense, it almost doesn't matter how long they've been in the business. It doesn't matter their background. That thing they said makes sense. I mean, the industry that I'm in, the reason that I could have been a complete outsider with a background in, let's say, software development companies and fashion and other things, it's because this industry has been stuck in the 1980s since the 1980s. The mentality towards packaging, towards product development, there's almost no people who come in with kind of a general like tech disruptive, move fast, test things, get it out there. I mean, to make a product that is, physically small and easy to fulfill, but it takes 12 to 18 months to develop it. I mean, I've built far more complicated things in far less time. So, that's one of the interesting things is I will go to these conferences, I will talk to the people in the industry and they will just have a completely different way of doing business, which is part of why I had to do it myself.
And that is exactly what you've done. So tell me a bit about the range. Was it easy to come up with the name? And did the products introduce themselves to you in the sense that you knew what you had to make?
So the first round of products, which are a facial serum, a body serum, and we're launching the concealer soon. Those were very obvious to me because those were the specific ones that I knew were they work universally. Everyone can use concealer, everyone can use a hyaluronic acid serum, all skin types. So if a product is universal, for I want to help people look better and have better skin reasons they're great. And then from a business reason they're great because the fewer number of products you have to have that work for more people, the easier. If we have one size of a facial serum, okay, we need more facial serum. I don't have to make for instance, a shirt, small, medium, large, extra large. Well, if only people are buying the extra larges, then you have a lot of the small inventory and you waste money.
Mhm.
So these products all worked from a business perspective, but also really from the usability perspective of they have the highest impact. The next couple of products are going to be, a daily SPF moisturizer, face wash, an eye stick. We're wondering if we're going to do deodorant or not. I mean, there's a million good deodorants, so we're not sure we have to.
Yeah.
We want to make products that are better than what's out there. And then, of course, who also have high margins, are easy to fulfill because, there's a business element to everything we have to do. An interesting thing that we like to do too, and this is kind of general business advice. I always knew in the back of my mind, but learned a little more clearly recently was what's called a fast win. You want to give customers fast wins with whatever product you make. So, for instance, our facial serum, you apply it, it dries in a way where it has a film former. It feels tight on your face. You know it's working the first time. So that's how we get you, because you might not see results the very first time. It might take you a month of everyday use. But the fact that you feel something the first time makes you think, okay, this is working. I'm going to continue with it. It's like going to the gym.
Yeah.
You're not gonna see any result on January 2nd and 3rd when you go to the gym. You have to do it consistently. So, with a fashion business, someone puts on a shirt that looks great. Okay, they have a fast win. They put it on. It looks great. But with skincare, it gets a little more challenging. We do a lot with, cooling sensations or other things. You have to feel like you just used the product, to be honest. So that's kind of the general how we came up with the products. I know you also asked about the name, right?
Yeah.
So I always liked Greek sounding clean names with K's, R's, T's, X's, S's, Nike, Kith, Knicks. I thought they were clean because I was going to make this for guys, but I didn't want to go too heavy handed, masculine. There's another competitor called like War Paint for men.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of Warpaint.
Yeah, for me, I mean, they might be doing very well, but for me, my messaging was supposed to be I'm not going to say concealer is like, okay, concealer was feminine, but now it's masculine. Let's call it war paint and go so far the other way. I just wanted to take gender out of it.
Yeah.
I'm just approaching it from the kind of utilitarian attitude of you have a pimple, a blemish, a dark spot, a scar, something. Tap this cream, this chemical mixture on your face, and it will disappear. That has nothing to do with men, women, culture, or anything. It
Mhm.
is literally we're trying to, camouflage something on your face. So that's kind of where I liked the Greek names. They were a little more gender neutral. And then the actual, I looked up Greek gods and Roman gods, and I don't know, I felt like calling it Achilles skincare and stuff like that was a little too much. And then yeah, the actual name came because I thought women have foundation, guys will have concrete. We were going to call the concealer concrete. And then Crete came out of the second half of that word. So the brand was going to be concrete. Or sorry, the brand was going to be Crete and the concealer was going to be concrete.
Uh-huh.
So then I changed it to a K because we didn't want people Googling us and finding an island in Greece.
Yeah, that's true.
Basically, ownership of IP and trademarks is very important.
Do you know, you are a complete breath of fresh air because you're telling a full story, the full picture. You're not just talking about, oh, I came up with this because I had a need for it and then I did this, this, and this. You can tell you're an entrepreneur because you're talking about it in very realistic terms. The passion's there, the need's there, but also the realism of what's required in business. And it is such a breath of fresh air. I love it. I hope you
I
continue
appreciate
like
that.
this.
I mean, in my opinion, my first job, if you can say that, I was a tutor. So I'm just very used to explaining things in a way where my job is to bridge the gap between you don't know what I'm talking about and you don't have the context even. So I need to explain the context and then the steps how I got there so you can actually see it. I like to demystify things because the first is that's how people understand you. And, as someone who hires people and runs teams, they need to understand me. But the other part is, I've learned from great mentors and teachers. And so if I've learned something and I can pass it on, that person who learns it from me is not a competitor of mine. If anything, they're a collaborator because
Mhm.
I don't know, we need more great stuff to continually get built. And if people kind of start businesses without the actual knowledge of the reality of the situation of being an entrepreneur, they're not going to necessarily succeed. And I want people to succeed. That's a better world.
It's a great attitude. And we get a good mix of genders listening to the podcast and watching the channel. So if any men are listening that either have been thinking about skincare or the complete opposite, don't really think about skincare, then what would you say would be the standout product to get them started? Or would you recommend that they try several just to see how they get
I
on with
would say the first thing is our hydrating facial serum. We built it as the entry product because what it is it's a concentrated moisturizer. So it works for a lot of skin issues, dry skin, signs of aging, wrinkles, redness, fine lines, irritation. It's great after you shave as well. And then hyaluronic acid also gives a really nice like coloration balance. So, especially during the winter months when we're all a little paler or our skin tone is not quite as lively, it helps with that. And so the reason we made that product with the exact ingredients we did is that it works for basically all skin types too. So that's the kind of thing we call our tagline is 30-second skincare because all our products take 30 seconds or less to use. So that's an easy one. You
yeah.
know, when I talk to guys who have no idea about skincare, I can empathize with them. I was that person in 2000 up to 2016. Well, technically 2017, January 2nd, this happened to me. So up until that date, I don't know, I didn't know anything about skincare. So if I had this one product, I don't know, I would probably have used it every day, every other day, 30 seconds right before I go to bed, something like that. My skin would have been better. It just would have been easier.
Mhm. And do you have like the perfect sort of avatar customer, the sort of person that fulfills your perfect client, or is it actually quite far ranging?
It's reasonably far ranging and we are kind of expanding that range every month or so. Originally last year in the first half of the year, we ended up doing very well with 45 plus guys.
Mhm.
And we noticed that a large percentage of them were not even in major cities. We thought it was going to be guys, 30 to 40 major cities. That was what we thought would be our first like home run niche. But it was actually guys 45 plus focusing on the anti-aging messaging, um, which is a major benefit of our products. So we thought that was very interesting. So once we kind of grew that, we had, the resources and understanding to then go to the 30-year-old guys in various cities. And then that worked. And now we're expanding to TikTok and going after audiences down to 19 years old.
Mhm.
We also do have some women buying the products, which is interesting because we just don't run ads to women, but somehow they find it. So that's
I,
pretty,
I was going
that's
to
great.
ask. I was going to ask you that because I think that a good product is a good product, and
Mhm.
as you say, even though you're not marketing to women, if they like your message, I think they'll purchase it. And also, I'm guessing the old bathroom cabinet, if they see something and they like the sound of the ingredients. And a lot of women want 30-second skincare too. They just don't have the
Absolutely.
time. Yeah. Or they don't have the desire to have that too. Oh, there's the phone going, excuse me. I think a lot of women don't have the desire either to want to spend a lot of time massaging their
Absolutely.
face, putting a lot of products on. So is that what you found then? Have you spoken to any of the women that are using it?
Yes, I fully plan on launching Crete to women in some capacity, most likely this year.
Yeah.
The way we kind of attack an individual marketing message is we want to make sure that we're speaking to a customer directly. So when it was older guys, we just had the best content and things like that, where the correct users, because we use real people. So the correct people who, emailed us, hey, I would like to do a video for Crete. Okay, let's see, send us what you got, whatever. So the real customers with the best messaging that we had that was the most, profitable was the older guys, because there were 3 or 4 guys who sent stuff into us and they were just charismatic and it came off. And we were running those ads for 6 months without changing them and they were doing well. So it kind of comes down to, okay, I like to understand the customer very well. I need to talk to more women about their specific skin issues, but not just that, what their needs are from a consumer brand messaging. Like what would make them trust me versus the millions of other products they get served ads for, right? So the difference between men and women in this space is that women I'd need to differentiate from the million options they have, whereas guys, they don't have options. So all I need to do is educate them. And I
Yes.
see myself as more of an educator than oh, we're different than the million people out there. Right now, all I need to be is different from the 5 or 6 brands marketing to guys versus the million marketing to women. So that was kind of one of the major reasons to start with guys is I understood how to speak to them. I understood what they wanted. Um, so the economics of the marketing to women become different. Guys are more brand loyal. Once they find a brand, they stick with it, but they also cost more to acquire.
Right.
So there's a lot of considerations when doing that. Getting large as a male brand, I think will be easier. I said I think on purpose because while we're growing, you never know the path you didn't take, but we'll eventually kind of like Hims became Hims and Hers. We'll probably do something like that.
I think that is really interesting. And is the feedback that you've had, has anything in particular really impressed you with some of the comments that you've had back, like beyond your expectations?
Yes, it's interesting. We do get emails and texts, and we even if they're automated at this point, it says from Jake. So
Yeah.
it's it's a little personal touch. We want to make sure that people feel like there's an actual person on the other side because there is. We read every email. That's not automated. There's just like a reply email that is.
Yes.
And we get people messaging back with their kind of stories unsolicited and it's great. I had the skin problem for 20 years and your stuff has like made it go away in a week, and we're like, wow, I mean that was not well, that's a pretty powerful message. Or just my wife keeps like thinking she keeps telling me my skin looks nice. She hasn't said that ever. Just really nice personal stories. And I had that experience myself of like, okay, I was worried about a scar on my nose and my face for the rest of my life, and
Mhm.
then I treated it and it got significantly better. And that was two very different ways I felt my life could go relative to my confidence, my personal level of feeling attractive, and etc. So giving that to other people, I know how important that is. And so that's the main reason why we do it.
And I think because you are so transparent about why you started on this path, I think that speaks to so many people because how often do we spot a new brand or a new range from an established brand and we just know that the the supposed message behind it is not authentic.
Yeah.
So
It's
when you're able to
consumers
tell
are,
us,
yeah, sorry. I'm
no,
sorry for
there you go.
interrupting.
I'm just saying when you're able to tell us the story, it resonates with us.
I appreciate that because, for a long time it wasn't easy. Even starting Crete, I can be as confident and, minorly delusional as an entrepreneur. And I've had successful companies in the past, but that none of that means that we would be doing well in the future until you actually are. So, for any entrepreneur, there's a lot of hope and faith and things like that. But at the end of the day, this was important to me. And I kind of knew that as long as I executed on it well, it would kind of be inevitable. Skincare is a giant industry for guys in the next 5 years. We're all going to see the landscape change. And to me, that was very clear. There's no way, guys, in a world where we're all on Instagram and TikTok and Zoom and things like that, there's no way guys are not going to care more every single day about how they look when our faces are constantly everywhere. So to me, I knew that the audience was going to be built in. It was just a matter of education. I was like, okay, well, that's my background is making sure that people know what I know. So that's kind of why I was confident in it. But yeah, for a couple of years, it was developing products, developing the brand, testing a lot of things. No sales for a year or two because you don't have a product to launch. So you just
Mhm.
kind of have to invest money with wondering, okay, when we launch, how's it going to go?
Well, genuinely, it's not often when I'm speaking to someone that I think, where is this going? I just have a feeling that this is going to be so big that it's going to be a fascinating journey to watch. I can just tell by the way that I'm talking to you that it's more than just someone has launched a product because they had a reason to do it. It's clearly growing into something. I can see that, and it is really really exciting just listening to what you're planning, what you're finding
Well,
out, and where this is going.
thank you. This is very nice to hear on a Monday morning. That'll keep me going for a
I
couple of
forgot it
days.
was
No,
one.
that's really flattering. I appreciate it. It's been years of hard work and we do things with intention. So,
It's
if
just
we do
coming across
things
so strongly to me that this is fully formed and fully thought out.
well, I'm honestly that's I don't know any other way to do it. For me, there is definitely a level of fear or anxiety of big things going wrong, investing in a product that doesn't sell or spending years of my life on a thing that doesn't become real or give me back the financial freedom or the work freedom, etc. So it's not that this all comes from some like fountain of unbelievable just pure motivation. There's fears of failure and there's a reality to being an entrepreneur. There's a craziness to it that forces me and the people I work with to make sure that if we have an opportunity, we need to take it. If we have some funding, let's make sure we spend it correctly. What are the right products? So, it's definitely stressful. It's not just all, sunshines and roses, but then you end up with good results and you go, okay, it was obviously worth it.
Well, I think my final question is, now that you've got all of this established and you're starting to move in the right direction, do you have a plan, a goal for the next year or so? Or is it more about continuously building the brand and just making sure that we all know about it?
Um, that's obviously a major part. We have established our brand, but we're not a household name yet. So this year is we want to get multiple times bigger in our recognition, in our sales, and our user base. We want our products to be multiple times, going from the two that we sell now to 5 or 6 with a number of other ones that are in development. We want to expand our channels. We're doing TikTok and TikTok organic, TikTok paid influencers. We're just launching on Amazon soon. So this is kind of the year of all of those things. That's natural kind of growth. But the thing I'm most excited about is that companies, as they grow, they start being more kind of conservative with what they experiment with. And that's not why they were successful in the first place. We're selling concealer to guys with interesting messaging. So when we try to sell the next product, we have to remember that it's experimental. We need to take risks. We need to do those things.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of these, giant companies don't innovate anymore. That's why there is room for startups to come in. It's because once you get big, you get conservative, you circle the wagons, you have something to lose.
Mhm.
So, the Sephora and Ulta, they have, innovative programs. Yeah, that's not really where innovation comes from. It's from some crazy entrepreneur in a basement or a garage somewhere having some idea. And that's where you get a Dr. Squatch. He was making soap in his garage or something like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we want to do the traditional expansion of channels, products, customer bases, etc., but also ideas. One of our crazy ideas was to build software that finds your tone at home so guys don't have to go into a store. We need to keep doing things like that, things that push the boundaries, things that kind of keep us ahead of the curve. And, at the end of the day, if we own the IP of the intellectual property, that'll make us a more valuable company. It's not all out of the general spirit of entrepreneurship. It's also, or scientific development or experimentation. That's valuable, right? If you come up with something new that works for people and you own it, I mean, you're kind of set. Someone's going to buy you.
See, this is what I mean. We're finishing off the chat, and I'm still thinking, wow, there's more. There's more coming.
Well, there's always more.
That is amazing. Could you tell us your website and your socials so that anyone that's interested can see for themselves?
Sure. All of our socials are at krete.club. So at Krete, krete.club. And our website is krete.club, not .com, so .club. Yeah, it's pretty simple. One of the reasons I like to call it Krete with the K, was that we could get every domain and everything else.
Clever. Honestly, so clever. Jake, we will be watching, and I don't need to wish you good luck because I can see what's happening, but I will say good luck with the brand. It's been
I will take luck. I mean, the way I view it is you can do everything you can to succeed, but luck is still necessary.
Yeah.
It's just how much luck do you need? If you work really hard and do the right things, maybe you need 20% luck. If you don't, maybe you need 80% luck. So you still need luck either way. It's just, I try to make it that I need less of it because then it will actually happen.
What a great message to end on. Jake, thank you so much.
I appreciate your time. Thank you for having me.